Hi and welcome back. It's Eddie from Weoley Tropicals. For those that are new to the channel and haven't yet subscribed, I'm basically going to do garden tips and tricks. This seed grow along series, which I'm going to take up now to probably maybe about episode 10 or 12 for the 4, 5, 6 of you that are still watching. I also run like a plant sales business. So if you're in the market for any tropical plants, sell the plants that we grow as well. Do garden tours as well as like planting schemes for beginners and stuff. So for all things tropical plants in the UK, don't forget to hit subscribe. For those that are watching on the regular, we've got some interesting plants. I'm going to get straight onto it today. I've got some that I'm going to, in fact, pretty much all of these I'm going to struggle to pronounce. So I'll put all the names on the screen so I don't offend anybody or destroy the pronunciation of any of these words. But this one's Schizolobium, parahyba, something like that. That's about as bad as a pronunciation of ever you got. So Schizolobium parahyba, I think is the correct name. Before I move on, look at the size of these seeds. I've never seen seeds like that. They're like Werther's Originals, if you're old enough to know what they are. If you're thinking, what are Werther's Originals? This channel's probably not for you. Then I've got Caesalpinia, gilliesii or something like that. Again, I'll put some photographs on screen. I'm going to show you the next set. There's two of the same variety on this one, but two slightly different versions of it. And then as we're sowing, I'm going to do one plant per little chapter. I'll give you all the information about that in particular plant, any interesting facts and stuff like that. So if you're only interested in one of these, you can skip to that. That's absolutely fine. And then we've got is it Arisaema, tortuosum, something like that. Ignore all the notes on there. And as always, we've got this will be the last video now, I think, for you to be able to claim the discount that we've got on there, which is 20% using jungle seeds. I'll put the comment in. I know a couple of you, quite a few of you have bought from them already, which is fantastic, because like I say, they'll analyze it at the end and see if it's worthwhile giving us an extension on that or something, maybe. I don't know. But as I said to you before, there wasn't crazy desperate for orders. They're a busy firm as they are, but fill your boots where you can. 20% off is fantastic. Minimum order I think was £10. Like I say, I don't get any commission or anything for that, so it's literally no extra for you to go through and use my code. It just saves you 20%. So without further waffle, let's get on to the first one. So the very first one, and these, like I say, the seeds on those are huge. I've never seen a bigger seed than that. Genuinely never seen a bigger seed than that. They're absolutely huge. Feel tough as old boots as well. So these ones, I'm going to give you the otherwise known as name, because that's the only name I can pronounce. Brazilian fire tree or fern tree, just because of the kind of leaves and stuff on them as well. These are native to Brazil, Venezuela, and Peru. So they like that hot, humid kind of growing conditions. So these can't take anything lower than just 5 degrees C. So these are like tender as. These will need to be brought in. For seeds that are like that size, I would recommend kind of soaking these for 24 to 48 hours. Just to try and penetrate the seed coat. They should germinate relatively quickly from the information I can find online, which was between 1 and 3 weeks, which for seeds is sensational. 25 to 30 degrees C or 77 to 86 Fahrenheit. If you're abroad, you want to transplant these when they're around about 30 centimeters tall. So let them kind of get a decent size before you start messing with them. These grow, as you can imagine, like places like Brazil, Venezuela, and Peru. They get a lot of sun over there, so they like those conditions. Yeah, full sun. They get bright yellow flowers as well, so it's not only just a tree, but it's also good for the pollinators, etc. And in the wild, I mean, you're not going to get them in this country, because unless you've got like a 40-meter tall conservatory, these will die back anyway. So these in the wild can get to 30 to 35 meters tall. They're absolutely huge. So you can, if you want to as well, another tip, which you can nick the seeds, kind of like chip them on the corner, just to help to get the water inside, or use a little bit of sandpaper if you wanted to. So similar to the canner method, where I would just use either a pair of scissors. I'll see if I can show you one now. Better I destroy one seed than you guys, so let's get one out really quick. And all I would use is just a sharp pair of scissors and just go about as close to it as I can. And just try and get just the edge of these seeds. Looks like they are tough as old boots. And that's all you want to be doing. Just, you can just see a bit of material coming off there, not much. I'm just going to keep passing on it. And then I think that's probably enough now. So I've scratched it enough on the side. You probably can't see that, but I've scratched it enough on the side to help a little bit of the water get through. I know with cannas it definitely does help, because I've tested it time and time again with batches that have not been nicked at all versus ones that have. That or a little bit of sandpaper just to kind of scratch over the surface. Again, with seeds like this, these are not ones that necessarily need to be surface sown. You can put those a little way in, just because obviously the roots will go down first and then the growth will come from. You don't want it to be a little bit wavy on that. So with these types of seeds, I would probably get something like a 9 centimetre. Fill that up with our usual mix. If you can see that, that's coconut coir, and the white stuff in there is perlite. So I'd mix it in something like that, and I would just dot them all in there and cover over the top of it. Probably give them about a good inch over the top, and then just water those through. With any of these seeds, if you've got something like, did a bit like a blue Peter one here, one I prepared earlier, a humidity dome, any of those things with the round ones, they pop really nice over the top of those, and then that helps. They've got like, so if it gets too hot, the steam can come out of it, like the vapor can come out of it, but they work really well like that to keep the moisture in, so you haven't got to keep watering them. Keep an eye on it, because they like to be moist, all of these things, but they don't want to be waterlogged either, because obviously they've got no roots sucking any of the water up. So to keep them sat around in that can help sometimes rot the seeds off really quickly. I'm going to move on to number 2 in a second, but make sure you stay tuned to the end, because I'm going to do a massive update on all of the stuff that's popped so far from the previous episodes as well. I remember the last time I went in there was pretty much nothing to report, and then the day after I'd uploaded the video, all this stuff started popping, so I was a little bit annoyed by that, but at least it's kind of, for what was going to be the finale, it would have shown everything that's popped so far. There's a couple that still haven't gone, but these are ones that we weren't expecting to have gone anyway. So without further ado, let me move on to plant 2. Right, so for the second one, which is this Caesalpinia gilliesii, or, which is far easier for me to pronounce, the bird of paradise bush. So they look fantastic. I was looking at photographs of these and videos online. These grow native to Argentina and Uruguay. Prefer arid conditions, so really bone dry kind of conditions for it to grow in. An example of places that these grow well was places like Texas and Arizona, just to give you an example of how dusty these like it. So, but what they did say online is those, when you water them deep, so actually it does get all through the root ball, and then leave them be until they completely dry out, probably past where most of us are comfortable with them getting. That's where they are. Again, seeds on this one quite big as well. See if that'll put it into focus. Really decent sized seeds on these. I prefer handling the bigger seeds. They're not as, you know, if you're trying to put them over the seed train, you lose half of them. It's a bit irritating. You ain't going to lose seeds that size. Again, you can nick the corner of these ones, as I've just shown you. Just get some sandpaper and just rub it back and forth until you just see the colour of the seed change. You don't have to bother doing that. Just sometimes it just doesn't germinate as quickly, and sometimes when you're quoted like 1 to 4 weeks with these, it's the 1 to 2 weeks that might be the nick seed, and the 3 and 4 if you don't. Doesn't always mean that that's the case, though. Some seeds will just fly regardless, because there's nobody in the wild running around with a pair of nail clippers helping these seeds to germinate. So it swings and roundabouts with that one. These ones we plant 1 to 2 centimeters deep, so not too far down. Again, as I just said, 1 to 4 weeks. Transplant when you get 3 sets of true leaves. So as I said to you before, I've got an example here with the Arisaema. So the first leaves that come out are the cotyledons. The ones that start resembling the actual plant that you've ordered are the sets of true leaves, okay? So you want 3 or 4 of those. So ignore the seed leaves, the cotyledons, so you can just ignore those altogether. And then get 2 or 3, so it just means they're a bit more established before you start messing with it, because a lot of these plants don't like their transplant. They get shock from that, from the roots disturbance and stuff. So make sure they're a little bit more established, a bit more pot bound, and then they'll transplant easy. These are only hardy only in USDA zone 8 to 11, if that means anything to you. Over here, I would suggest that we don't do that. I think ours is zone 7 something or other, 7B, so I think it's just outside of that range. But again, if you're growing something, putting some effort into it, I'd rather put those into a big container and then just drag them in every winter. Again, water sparingly once they're established, just let them dry out quite a bit. Don't have these sat around like waterlogged, basically. I'll put some information on the screen, like some photographs of them. Have to be careful, obviously, with not getting sued and stuff, so I can't use the stuff from like Google Images and things like that. So if I can find something, I'll put it up on there. If not, give these a quick Google and have a look, because these are absolutely sensational. Soak 12 to 24 hours and 20 to 25 degrees C, or 68 to 77 Fahrenheit, these. Yeah, so relatively simple to get sowing, and at this time of year, we're not going to struggle to get those temperatures anyway, 20 to 25 inside of a greenhouse, or if you have a humidity dome, the temperature will rise in those anyway. So yeah, relatively easy with those. The next two, although it's the same plant genus, that because the two types have grown in very different conditions, they have such different kind of conditions and stuff like that, and when I was reading up about them, I've had to write that many notes, without exaggeration, on the back of the seed packet, because they are that different. So even like where they're from, the whole thing. So I'll give you some information on that, but I've had to cheat quite heavily this time and write it all down, because I knew I was going to get all mumbled up. So without further ado, let's get cracking. Right then, filming this just before I start work, so I'm racing through it today. But let me know if you prefer the longer videos as well, rather than the quick ones. I know, like, sometimes when you're looking at your stats on YouTube and like the average view is about 3 minutes long, you've done a 30-minute video, it's soul destroying. But if people would prefer a 5-minute video where I just literally blast through these like Sonic the Hedgehog, Speedy Gonzales, then that's absolutely fine. Or if you like me, I prefer to put my iPad on the side now, so I'm waffling on for a bit while I'm doing it alongside them. I prefer the 30-minute videos, but just let me know what you prefer. As well as, I've gone rare with these seeds. These are not common seeds. You're not going to find these in other people's gardens, and that's the stuff that I like. I do grow cannas, bananas, hostas, and all that other stuff as well, because obviously I've got a plant business and not everybody wants everything that's ultra rare. But let me know if you love the fact that we're doing stuff that's ultra rare and nobody's got any of this stuff, or if you'd prefer me to throw 1 or 2 of the seeds that we do each week as more common stock, like just standard dahlias, normal cannas, all that kind of stuff as well, or if there's enough content about that stuff anyway so we don't need it. But just let me know, because I thought about it this morning. I thought, have I gone too off the scale? I don't know, with some of these, but this is just what I like to grow, because all of these are new to me as well. And as well as when I'm doing my germination update at the end, please put in the comments what's popped for you as well, if you've grown any of this stuff as well. So without further ado, I've got the Arisaema, I've got consanguineum or something like that, and then the other one's tortuosum, something like that. The main part of this one, so I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna hold this up, like, right. So the consanguineum, that one is from the Himalayas, Nepal, Tibet, China. Flowers in spring and summer. The other one is from India, Nepal, and Sri Lanka, and that flowers early autumn. So they couldn't be too different, really, in the sense of one's spring, summer, and the other one's early autumn. Both of them like part shade, and the consanguineum, that one I'm going to call that, is a more compact plant. It's more bushy. It's a lot smaller. Gets to between 2 and 4 foot tall, whereas the other one gets up to 5 foot tall. So it's like over twice the size. And that one has got the name of Whipcord Cobra Lily, due to the dramatically upward curl in spadix inside, so like the little kind of whip that it's got on it. So yeah, so considering they're kind of from the same kind of thing, they're surprisingly different. These ones, they were saying that cold helps to germinate. We're at this time of year, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to struggle with that, but we're not. In the shade, it's still freezing. Like in my greenhouse, if I put some underneath one of the benches, it's still cold. I've checked the soil temperatures down there and it's freezing still. So if you've got any of that stuff, they might germinate very well anyway. But if you can put these somewhere cold, they don't need like really big temperatures. They're tiny little seeds, so they should the water should get through them pretty quickly. And sow these just under the surface for both of them. And like I say, cold helps germinate them. These can take several months to germinate, so hang fire with these. Don't think if they've not gone in a week or two that they're no good. It's just that's how long they take. And again, the other seeds are same but a bit more yellow. Again, from the consanguineum, that one has red fruit in autumn. That's the only part that I've got on my notes that's really any different. The interesting fact of this one, interesting fact, it's highly prized by plant collectors, both the plants. And the other one, both of these plants contain something that's called calcium oxalate crystals, which are highly toxic. And they're like at micro level, like needles, so they cause like irritation to your throat, and they're designed like they've evolved that way. So if animals eat them, they cause major disruptions like their throat and things like that. So don't get eating them. Don't imagine you were going to anyway, because they look that exotic. You'd think they're probably going to be poisonous anyway. But yeah, I just thought I'd mention that as the interesting fact. The other ones didn't really have much in the sense of what I could find online for the usual interesting fact. Right, before I run out of time, before I've got to start work, I'm going to give you the quick update. I don't think that's gone so far. Do a quick video for what has germinated. We've got the Montanoa hibiscifolia. We've got two little dinky ones there. We've got the Persicaria that we did. We've got two little ones there. Nothing else within this, like none of the Brugmansias and things like that. I've got in here, these are Leucocasia Thai Giant. They're absolutely beautiful. And they're the Masanga, looking incredible. What we grew the other week was the Dahlia, tree Dahlia. There's the little seed leaves I was talking about. And then there's a set of true leaves just coming out of that. We've got the Alocasia macroraza Thai Giant, just getting its first proper defined leaf on there. Bird of Paradise, which is the only one that I've ever grown successfully from seed. I've got some of the Ricinus that we've done over there, looking a bit moody at the minute, but I just transplanted those, so that does tend to happen. And then there's no germination from the other pots or the bananas, or unfortunately not the Manihot yet, but we wasn't expecting that. These are seeds that can take upwards of 3 months to a year. Literally forgot these two, which is Papaya Red Lady, which are looking fantastic, and Papaya Sunrise, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how these grow. And if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget at this point to give it a like. I know I get a lot of people that watch it on the TV, so you can't actually comment. So I do appreciate anybody that can comment. It G's us up all the time, because as YouTubers, sometimes you're making these like videos and you're not sure really how they're perceived and stuff like that. It's a lot of effort with the editing and the cost of, I think I've done about 120 quid on this Grow Along series so far. Don't forget to comment in there, just say anything that you think that could be improved in there as well. I'm brand new to this kind of YouTube. I've only been doing it for a couple of months, so I don't expect perfection at this particular junction. I'm trying to get better with every video, whether it's the audio or things like that as well. So let me know anything else that you'd want included in the video, but I genuinely appreciate everybody that's got to the end of the video. It helps push it out to YouTube. If you haven't already, don't forget to click subscribe to help grow the channel as well, but I appreciate you watching. Thanks again.